All right, guys, fire away. We'll open up for questions.
Starting to veer towards opening day?
Say it again, Rich?
Starting to veer towards opening day?
Not yet.
No.
No. We had our second scrimmage yesterday, so it's still about us, and probably will be at least halfway through this week. And that's just philosophically, even during game week, I make it as much about us as probably anybody else. Now, by the end of this week, maybe early next week, we'll get into a normal game plan deal, but we still got work to do. Fundamentals, technique, our own scheme, going good against good, just continuing to get better is going to be the theme for most of this week.
So when does things kind of switch over for you to be game mode from preseason mode? Like if you're still focusing, and kind of when does that change to start getting ready for that first game?
Yeah, it's kind of like I was just alluding to Rich, possibly by Friday, but again, there's so much more that we still need to work on, and I think there's nothing better than going good on good. Now, just to try to explain it, as soon as you start getting into game plan mode, what you do is you take your ones essentially and you put them up against the scout team, and that's usually your guys 1 to 2 deep. That's not your ones or your twos, right? The ones and the twos are over here, then you get your scout team. So for us to start this early, having our ones going against our scout teams, to me, we're going to get better going ones on ones, twos versus twos, and threes versus threes. And that's what our focus is right now. It's Zay Flowers going against Josh DeBerry, and how good can we get him, in the next 3 or 4 practices. And it's Phil Dracovic going against our first team D-line and our first team's back seven, and try to maximize him getting better. I think we'll sprinkle in some periods to kind of, get us ready to get into game plan mode. But I just want to get better right now. I just want to go out, practice, and get our guys as good as they possibly can be, so we're ready for that first game, second game, third game. So either Friday or possibly even Sunday. Because if you do get into a normal game week, all you usually have then is Sunday, right? And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So, the latest Monday, Sunday, the earliest Friday. But we got work to do, man.
Is it gotten back to normal, if that's the right word, post-COVID, or had you gotten there at the end of last season? Do you feel like this is just a normal camp where you're practicing, or there's things you're still worrying about and taking care of?
I think there's always a little bit of concern when you kind of read what's going on right now with some of the cases rising, but we're kind of in our bubble, and in training camp it's just us, so it does feel normal. We're not wearing masks right now. Our team's vaccinated. We're in team meeting rooms. It's still kind of weird for me. I used to come in here every day and do a team meeting. It's kind of weird just to go down to the second floor, and it's a lot more convenient. But it's nice to be able to look the guys in the eye like this and be able to coach them and sit next to them in the meeting room and have them in my office. So from that regard, it's awesome, and it's great.
I was going to say that when you want to be a coach, I imagine those are the kinds of things you're looking forward to, getting to know the players and being close to them, stuff like that. Is that, now having that chance, is that, are you enjoying that much more?
Yeah, I love it. Certainly. It's just like I'd rather do this with you guys than sit here on Zoom and see who's muted and unmuted and hit a bunch of buttons. That stuff got old fast, right? But I want to be around the guys. I want to be able to show them, right next to them, rather than having to stand 10 feet away with a mask on and yell so loud that nobody hears me. It's been awesome. It's been great. Just being around the coaching staff. We can all sit in a staff meeting, and we couldn't do that last year. There were a certain amount of guys allowed in the room, and way more convenient, way more personable. It was hard last year. That was really hard. But we had to do it, so we did the best we could.
You mentioned there's still room for improvement, obviously, in the next few weeks. Can you just provide some specifics, just what areas do you think you need to get better at before Colgate?
It's just going to be about executing. I want to execute at a high level in all 3 phases. It's about guys knowing exactly what they're supposed to do. No missed assignments, no busts. We have to get sharper that way. And I want it to come at them fast, so that's why I want it to be good on good for as long as we can go, because it's harder physically and mentally, and I think mentally we need to continue to improve. I think we did in the scrimmage, from the first scrimmage to the second, there was huge improvement. We weren't ready to play after the second scrimmage, which we really shouldn't be, right? That's our preseason. Are we ready to play right now? We're closer, and we need this week to get them more ready to play in a real game. We'll do a lot more game type work. We'll get this week. We'll get the coaches on the sideline, and players on the field. It won't be scripted. We'll get you down in distance and play it, so the coordinators have to think and the players have to react, and get them as mentally prepared to execute at a high level to play in that first game.
I feel like you have a pretty good sense of who's going to be the first team, second team, third team at this point, or still sorting a lot of those up?
I think we're close with most of it, but we had a staff meeting this morning because today's the players, technically their off day from practice. It's a recovery day that obviously is built in, so we always meet on personnel, and we always go over in the morning. I go over every coach, rank your guys, 1s, 2s, 3s, why, what's his role. We're just about there. There's a few though, that I really don't want to get into right now because I know if I say there's a few, your next question is going to be who. But there's some that are still close, and the guys know it. Because when I go into those meeting rooms, you can tell every minus they get, they want to know, why is that a minus? You sure? And I want that. I want a competitive group right up until we kick off. And then week 2 and 3, I want that guy to be breathing down their neck so they stay on top of their stuff. So there's some competition still.
From Phil this year, I know he did the Manning Academy in the off season, but just from his progression from last year with the shortened off season, shortened preseason, the waiver, all that, to this year he's had a full off season. How has his play progressed from where he was during the year last year?
I think with Phil, he just has a better understanding of the scheme, more confidence. He's more of a leader. I think last year he was kind of just treading water, trying to figure it out. Couldn't play the game. Really didn't know the scheme. Just kind of went out there and made plays. This year he knows the scheme. He's getting coached hard. And the last 4 days he's done a really nice job. He had a really good day in scrimmage. The day before I thought was his best day. And all you can hope is that you continue to say that, right? So he just stacks good day after good day and gets better and better. And he's going to have his ups and downs just like everybody else. And, the difference for Phil is, all of a sudden people know who he is. And there's more expectation. And I try to tell him, just go out and play ball, man. We don't put any extra pressure on him. His team doesn't. And that's all that matters. Just go out and do your best every single day and have fun and throw the ball. And if you throw an interception, I'm going to say the same thing I did to him last year. Just go throw another one as hard as you can and do what you do best. But just like everybody else, he's going to have his ups and downs. And he's going to go out and play ball. I'm excited for him.
And then on top of that, his play in scrimmages and in preseason and chemistry with the receivers too, how has that pressure to push the defensive backs in the defensive backfield to up what they might see during the season?
I think that's important because you get a guy that can make all the throws and throw the ball down the field. I think the biggest thing that's pushed the DBs is there's more competition. Again, I think when we create a culture of competition around here where the guy knows the guy behind him is coming for his job, that's when you really see people step up. Then you look at the receivers we have right now. You get guys like Zay and some of our top guys going against him in one-on-ones. That's as tough covering him in any situation you're going to find all year. Then you look at our O-line, same thing with our D-line. And then obviously Phil comes in and can make all the throws. So that's kind of like what I've been trying to say since we started this conversation today is that's what I want to just continue to see. And it's fun to watch and it's hard.
Coach, we talked a little bit last year about building relationships with high school coaches. Season started a couple days ago here, kind of back to normal. Just curious what your path of relationship building has been like, and if it's gotten better, since things have kind of gotten back to normal.
It's still been kind of hard, to be honest with you, because I haven't been able to get on the road. My whole year and a half, or however long I've been the head coach, I haven't really been able to get out. And that's just like this. You want to meet people face to face. So I did a lot of Zooms. We did a lot of clinics for all the high school coaches. I invited whoever wanted to come up in the spring, those who were vaccinated, and there's still some loopholes that we have to jump through. I want to be able to get out. I want to go to games. I want to sit down in our high schools and help them out. I want to get them all here, have a clinic, and hang out with them afterward and get to know them in a social setting. So it's still not what I'd like it to be, just like the rest of the world. But I'm looking forward to that, and I'm excited to follow those teams this year.
Is Frank going to use Travis kind of similar to the way he did last year? You kind of look at it, I forgot he had 35 receptions last year.
Yeah, I think you'll see Travis do a lot of different things. I think you'll see him run the ball, catch the ball, line up all over the field. I think you'll see him do more this year than he did last year because our offense has grown. I think you'll see a lot of, if you looked at us last year, there were a lot of moving pieces, a lot of shifting and motioning and guys lining up all over the place. There's going to be even more of that this year.
I'm just picturing him on a screenplay with that offensive line.
Yeah, hopefully we get a few of those going with those big boys out in front. I hate seeing that when I'm out here and there's only one defender and all four of them, but I hope it happens soon on Saturday.
Coach, you talked a lot last year about how, your playbook was pretty vanilla, to use your words, and you were trying to up it this year, make it more complicated. How's that installation going? What are you seeing from the team?
It's going well, and that's kind of what I was alluding to. I want to see this week how much we can handle, and I talked about missed assignments. I talked about knowing what you're doing and executing at a high level, because once we figure out how much our guys can handle, and then we start game planning, then we need to shrink it, right? How much can we really carry into a game? That's our job as coaches to figure out. It's going to be more in some phases than it was last year. I think it's going to be game by game. I think you'll see schematically, I think game by game, you'll continue to see some different things. You're not going to see it all at once because the game plans are going to be shrunk, but teams are going to see a lot more than they did in all three phases than what we had time to do last year.
Coach, in a more traditional ACC with the two divisions and a more traditional format, this is kind of your first full ACC season, if you will. How did last year kind of help into this? It was such a weird year, and do you feel still kind of that it's all brand new with the two divisions for you, specifically with the league and getting your league opponents and all that?
Yeah, I mean, all I know right now is you play every team is an ACC team, an ACC game. So, we only had the one non-conference game. I haven't really put much thought into it. A lot more non-conference games, only playing certain ACC teams. So I haven't really thought much about it, Dan.
And just for that first game, first for Colgate, you talked to Tim about the fact that he has to coach against his alma mater, just out of weirdness, and two is with the fans coming back too in that first game, you thought at all about what? I remember during ACC kickoff, I think you said something like it was weird when you run out the smoke and to just be cardboard.
Yeah.
Actually have people here.
Yeah, we joke with Tim, making sure he's not giving the playbook to Colgate. You guys can ask him that later when you see him. All of a sudden, if he starts calling some random blitzes we don't have, I'll know what's really going on. But as far as the fans, I'm really most excited for them and really not for me. I think it'll be fun for the students, the faculty, and people on campus to come to the game. Most excited for them and for the families of our players to get a chance to watch their kids play. Get my family there, which hasn't been able to happen yet. But I think it'll be fun running out. And actually, when the smoke clears this time, seeing real people. Just hope they're not yelling at me. But I'm excited for that. It will be fun. I'm excited for that.